I think the biggest issue with that fight, to be honest with you, is that Zurdo didn't show himself to be at all a promoter in this process, right? When you look at this fight week, we said to Golden Boy multiple times, why aren't we seeing more out of Zurdo? Why isn't he more engaged with the fans? And that, to me, is a big part of making that massive championship moment for Jake. He ultimately has to make the decision, but someone like Badu Jack is also someone that we want to have a conversation with. Because both of these guys, I don't think are great promoters, so we're going to make the right choice. Jake?
Yeah, we still want to get it done, though. I'm used to these guys not being good promoters, but at the end of the day, I'm going to fight all of these guys. I feel like tonight was just the first day of my boxing career, and I've just got warmed up, and now this is the chapter 2 moving forward.
And lastly for me, Jake, what was it like having the audience on such a string tonight? I don't know if you noticed, every move, every ebb, every flow, there were so many ups and downs and pops during this fight. Were you able to enjoy and experience any of that while you were in the ring tonight?
Yeah, no, I felt the crowd's energy, even though they were against me. I love it. I feed off of that. And I think it's funny when I'm landing, however many punches I land, 250 or 200, and he landed whatever, like 100, but they just scream every single time he lands a punch. But at the end, they were quiet. So that's how it goes always.
But that shows you the mental toughness of Jake Paul, to your question, right? For this young man to consistently go in, not in Puerto Rico, they love him in Puerto Rico, but to consistently go in around the U.S. and be treated like the underdog in that arena and not being supported the right way, and for him to persevere and to be cool, calm, collected, and composed and deliver is pretty amazing.
Hey Jake, right over here to your right. Andreas L from ESPN. Listen, the last time you fought a fighter that had a lot of pressure towards you was Tommy Fury. You looked a lot different tonight. And people still go back to that fight and say, well, he couldn't beat Tommy Fury. Talk about how much different you are of a fighter now as opposed to when you fought Tommy.
I don't even think I was a fighter then. I was like 2.5 years into the sport. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have the proper team around me, the proper conditioning. My lifestyle outside of the ring was still that of like a YouTuber, celebrity actor, whatever I was at that point in time. So I wasn't fully focused on boxing. Like I said, feels like chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in the sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know that Tommy Fury's name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that we've talked a lot about. Is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026. And we're going to meet with Matchroom while we're in New York to promote the greatest trilogy in the history of boxing, Terrence Ronald 3.
Last question, Makisa. This one's for you because I was going to bring up the Joshua thing. I know you've talked to Eddie Hearn in the past. Do you think they're keen on taking that fight? And Jake, this is also to you. Moving back up to heavyweight, like how did you feel coming back down and moving back up?
No, I'm definitely not a heavyweight, but I'm still going to take the challenge. But, you look at Deontay Wilder, he was beating these guys weighing 215 pounds. So anything is possible. Granted, he's like 6'6" or something, but anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Yeah, when Jay came out with that, Eddie said in the media, if he's serious, he'd do it at the end of 2025. No, Jake's going to do it on a timeline where he feels prepared to have a good chance against Anthony Joshua, and he believes that's the end of 2026.
Jake, what was it like for you, especially like in the last 4 rounds where it was like toe to toe and the fists were flying?
It was great. I love that he brought a good fight at the end, and I think that the fans got a good fight to see him come out, put some punches on me, and it makes me better. It brings the best out of me. I started catching his shots, shooting back, and I had to elevate tonight and rise to a different level, and I'm glad that the fans got to see me get punched in the face a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's good. I love a good fight.
You also went through a lot of testing this camp. Now that I saw you posted some on
It's not
social
this
media-
camp, he's gone through full body testing multiple times,
How
right?
does-
Tommy
How
Fury,
many
Nate
times do
Diaz,
they-
this fight.
Yeah, how many times do they typically test you when they put you through the ringer like that?
Yeah, it's random, and they can come 2-3 days in a row sometimes, and just as much as they want whenever they want. So people just always love to make rumors up about me, but I do drug testing, the commission drug testing right before the fight, all these types of things.
They
So-
should focus on Canelo and his team, not on Jake Paul.
Yeah, they
Jake
just
Paul
pop.
has been clean
It's
time
so
and time
crazy.
again.
It's so crazy that people that actually pop for this shit, they don't call them out. And then I'm over here looking like a doughboy. I got love handles, dog. That's after not eating for fucking 3 weeks, basically. So if I was on that shit, it wasn't fucking working.
Over here.
Jake, Carlos Lopez opinion, congratulations for the victory. What can you say about Julio, who last year was attending a rehab center? He was arrested. He was in a very dark phase of his life, and today he gave you a very competitive fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm very happy that Julio's in a better spot, and he came to fight tonight. He was in really good shape, and he's a warrior. And so I hope he keeps on that track and keeps on living a good life outside of the ring, and hopefully this can set him on a good path.
Over here.
Jake, you made a pretty big case in the ring too. Like after going in the crowd and being a heel, you did pay tribute to Ben Askren and show your support there. What was it about that whole thing that we've learned this week that made you want to make that big message in the ring in front of all those people?
Well, I mean, it's just insane. Insurance is a fucking scam, and it's so sad. And right when you need these companies, they're not there, and it's fucked up. And his insurance denied him to get the double lung transplant, which is also one of the most expensive surgeries, which is why they denied it. And it just sucks. It sucks that no one's doing anything. I was obviously super busy this week, so we're figuring out the donation now, but none of these people like Dana or anyone stepping in, so I feel like I have to do something, and that's really all it is.
And speaking of Dana, who do you think did better on pay-per-view tonight? You guys at UFC?
I hope they did, because they've been around for 40 years, and they've been building this company a lot longer than we have. This young man is 13 fights into his career, and he's being mentioned in the same breath as UFC. He's being mentioned in the same breath as Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez, who've been doing this for 20 plus years. So hopefully for them they did better than us, but for our little company with this young entrepreneur, the most professional boxer in professional boxing, we're doing pretty well.
Hey Jake, with your plans to face Zurdo and maybe Anthony Joshua in the future, is Canelo totally out of the picture in your boxing career plans?
No, he's not out of the picture. I think once I get the belt, he's going to want to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship and add that belt to his resume, and I think he would become like a 3 or 4 or 5 weight champion. So I think that would be what interests him. So that's the plan.